Hello, people that are watching this before we actually start. Hi.
Oh yeah, because it's on the YouTuber.
It is. And
Wowzer.
the glue TV.
Glue TV, which I have yet to look up.
Don't tell them that.
I know.
They'll come
Look,
unglued.
I get, oh my gosh. My head gets so big in this thing because I'm so right up in the
Oh yeah,
business.
I'm faced this way. Yeah. All up in the business.
I am all up in the business.
All
I'm
right, man.
using my headphones that I got for our 10-hour flight home.
Are
Yeah,
the
on the
airplane
airplane.
headphones?
Yeah,
International
I
audio.
know. International audio.
There you go. Start your own production company with that. Um,
Be IA instead of AI.
yeah. There you go. Also not to be confused with Allen Iverson. All right.
Yeah.
This There's one commercial, I forgot what it was, and it's like, I use this with the help of AI, and then it just shows Allen Iverson like smiling.
I love that. That's great.
All right, here we go. In three, trace.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better bring next on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son.
Greetings, Value Pull listeners, and welcome to episode 105 of the Pull List Podcast, a bi-weekly show about comics, pop culture, and faith. My name is Hector Mirai, a geeky pastor and author of the Faith and Fandom book series, and with me today, through his magnanimous generosity, is Todd Turner.
Magnanimous.
Magnanimous.
I
So
like that
hold on,
word.
let me finish the intro, and now I'm going to go back to that word. Through his magnanimous generosity, we have Todd Turner, creator and head crafter of Mosaic fan art.
Woohoo. Awesome.
So, the first time I heard the word magnanimous, and probably the only time I heard it for years, was in the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
Um,
it's in my top 10 movies of all time.
and they were talking about when they tarred the roof of the print shop,
Mm-hmm.
and the guard was letting them have beer. And it's the
Clancy.
same, yeah, Clancy. Yeah, it's the same guard that's Mr. Krabs. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Squidward.
yeah. Um, that dude was hardcore that movie though. He's like, and like you hear Freeman say the colossal P word, he even managed to sound magnanimous. and, and
Yes.
so I didn't know what it meant, and I just loved that line.
It's a
And
great one.
so I remember getting in a fight with somebody in like 2000,
Did you call him
and
magnanimous?
I straight called him magnanimous. I was like, listen here, you magnanimous douchebag. And I'm like, I had no idea it meant generous.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me so confused.
He's like, you're right.
And
I
I was
am. Thank you.
like, oh yeah, I look back on that moment and be like, oh no,
Oh gosh.
that was terrible. Um, that's outside of my awkward stories of poor vocabulary. Let's talk about comics because that's what we're here for. Sorry for the break, y'all. Life be lifing, and Todd is internationally famous, and he had to be abroad, and on the adventures of Jesus's. So,
I know. Just got
where
back from Italy, Greece, and Turkey.
and you visited some biblical sites and such, right?
I did. Walked the roads of Ephesus, which was the coolest part. I enjoyed that the most. Did go to the Vatican, pretty cool, and found that there was a comic book shop literally about 4 blocks away. So
Nice.
had to hit that up. But yeah, it was very humbling and a great experience to be able to go to some of these places that we read about in our Bibles.
That is neat.
Mm-hmm. Neato.
Sweet. Well, we're going to be talking about our favorite pulls of the past effectively month, somewhere in there. And we're also going to be talking about some comic book news and things that are coming up. And so Todd, you got any information for us? Any cool stuff we should know?
Well, I got some sad stuff first.
Oh
I mean,
no.
of course, we all know that we lost James Earl Jones, which is
Yeah, that's the one everybody paid attention to.
right. But I am,
Yeah, I was actually thinking about you.
uh, but John Cassidy, if some people don't know who that is, he's an artist and he died at 52. And he is the artist creator of my favorite comic book run, complete comic book run of all time, Planetary, which I've given everybody an omnibus. You don't got one? Ask me, I'll give you one, because I love it so much. Um, an amazing artist. I think one of his pages that he did for Astonishing X-Men with Josh Whedon is probably one of my favorite pages of all time. And it was the when Kitty Pryde realizes that Colossus is still alive and he goes running and like she's just staring at him and he runs through her while she's in phase, and the look on her face, there's no words in that entire page,
The whole panel, yeah.
and just the look on her eyes to see that he's still alive. uh, and that's probably one of my favorite X-Men runs.
That
If
is my
anybody,
favorite X-Men run.
yeah, if people go, hey, what should I read, I want to learn more about X-Men, I always push them to Astonishing X-Men.
The Astonishing X-Men Omnibus, all Joss Whedon negativity aside these days, it's still the best collected X-Men storyline.
I think so. I think it's
Um,
great, and you get Cassandra Nova, right? Is
which,
she in it?
yeah, she's one of the primary villains.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because
So her,
it goes from Danger to Cassandra Nova to the that
yeah,
alien
that alien
race.
dude. Yeah, the
Yeah.
alien dude. So yeah, that was a little bit of a 52. That's just, man, I'm older than that. So as the ancient love thy nerd person that I am, the grandpa of the group, I'm like, oh man. Ugh. So that was a
It
little bit.
yeah, that's a shocker, but it's also like, you know, not that it is a great loss for us all for James Earl Jones, but it's kind of sadder when you're a lesser known celebrity and you die on the same day as a major celebrity,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like
And
nobody no
no,
Brad
no,
Meltzer posted something and I think he's the only person I saw post something.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and James Earl Jones was 93. So, I mean, it's still
It's
sad. But this dude's 52, man. That's heartbreak.
And I'm not sure if you're aware, you probably are because you're a man of the world and knowledge. Maybe
Magnanimously,
magnanimously.
international magnanimous.
um that's the episode title. It's the magnanimous edition. Um but James Earl Jones maybe 3 to 4 years ago signed over complete rights for Disney to recreate his voice
Really?
as Vader indefinitely and forever.
Well, here's an interesting side note that I didn't even have this down on my list of news, but the dude who was Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yes. That's
So
it. That's in
Dis
my news for my thing tomorrow.
for tomorrow. Yeah. So Disney
Peter
is
Cushing.
is getting sued. The apparently, like, one of Peter Cushing's best friends owns a business and he signed something that said no one can use his voice ever or his likeness without their approval.
Well, his
And
friend's
I
approval, yeah.
with that, yeah, and Disney, well, we got Rogue One, which by the way is a fantastic movie. And uh
Better get
and
your
this,
physical copy before they replace him with somebody else.
I know, because Disney's been kicking this can down the road, and finally a judge in England said, nope, this is going to court. There's enough here to go to court on. So, but that wasn't even part of my news, but I was like, oh yeah,
That is the
yeah,
thing. And
that
here's
is a
the
thing.
and if for those of you who don't know, he was also the Doctor and Doctor. Well, no, he wasn't the Doctor. He was Doctor Who.
Peter
Um,
Cushing's?
yeah.
Really? I didn't
So
realize that.
so in the 60s,
Mm,
um, they wanted to have a Daleks were so popular, they needed a vehicle to be able to create Dalek content, but without interrupting the Doctor Who storyline.
okay.
So they started creating TV movies of Doctor Who that had nothing to do with the run of the TV series.
Oh, they were pretty much Black Label or Elseworlds.
Yeah. And so what they did with it is that Peter Cushing was Doctor Who. He wasn't a Time Lord. He wasn't from Gallifrey. He was not a regenerating two-hearted
Oh
dude.
gosh,
He
completely
was
different.
he was a dude who called himself Doctor Who, which is not something the Doctor does because he's
No.
the Doctor, not Doctor
Yeah,
Who. And
gotcha.
he built his own TARDIS.
Oh, all right then.
And
Built his
so
own TARDIS.
he built his own TARDIS
I
and
built a TARDIS.
you did.
No, no, in real life.
Yeah.
It didn't really function well, but I did build one. Anyway,
But so he had his own like series of like B movies where they would just get the Dalek actors to run around with Peter Cushing. And here's the deal why I'm a stickler for nerd specifics.
hmm
Spelled out Doctor Who is the Time Lord. DR period Who is Peter Cushing.
all right, there you go.
So if you abbreviate it,
Who.
yeah. Now, but the thing is though, originally the show was Doctor Who with DR Who at some points.
Hmm.
They would abbreviate it, but once they brought in that character, they're like, hold on, we have to have a distinction.
Yeah,
And so, but yeah, he had his own TARDIS adventures with Daleks, and it was pretty crazy.
Hector's Doctor Who-ness.
Yes.
A
Well,
Doctor Who minute with Hector.
you know that meme of Drake going like this and then pointing
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
So like I have that of with Doctor Who, like DR Who, and him
hmm
doing this, which is Peter Cushing. And then
Yeah.
all 13
All
of
the
the other
other
doctors,
doctors
and
are over
then
there going,
Doctor Who spelled out. And like
nice.
that's my explanation for people. So
Oh man.
so if you buy shirts at like Walmart, Target, and things like that, one of the shirts that's very popular and very cheap is Doctor Who and the Daleks. And if you pay attention,
It's DR period.
it's DR period, which is why it's super cheap.
He's PhD.
Yeah, he is. That's exactly what it is.
It's PhD doctor.
Yeah.
Well, going back to older characters, Buck Rogers is now in public domain. And the
Sure.
first public domain comic book for Buck Rogers comes out in January. Well, actually, he goes public domain in January. And so it's by Array Comics. In January, they're going to put out a new Buck Rogers comic book. Not that I'm excited about that, but I think it's just like one of the first big sci-fi characters that's entering public domain. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Flash Gordon came out the same time Buck Rogers did. So I'm sure that that's going to hit public
It's
domain
pretty
pretty
it's
soon
a
as well.
well, you can fight public domain, can't you?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
Superman and Batman did.
but I think,
Is it 75 years, right?
no, I think Buck Rogers came out in 1929. So do the math. 25 is when it's coming out. So that's 95 years. I think it's 95.
Here's the stipulation.
Okay, I'm
Um,
listening. Stipulate away.
Works created after 1978. Those works are usually protected for the life of the author plus 70 years.
Okay.
Anonymous or synonymous or works made for hire, these works are protected for 95 years from
Oh,
the year of
see?
from the year of publication, or
So that's
120 years from creation, whichever comes first.
all right. So this is 95 years.
Yeah.
So that's what it would be. So yeah, so 95 years. So that's 1929.
So Batman and Superman are safe for another 15 years to another 40 years.
Whichever comes first, right? So, but here's the deal. It's sort of like the Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie thing. You can only do Steamboat Willie, you can't do Mickey Mouse. So, but
Yeah.
are you excited about the possibility of a public domain Buck Rogers?
No, I'm never gonna
Yeah,
do that.
me either. Me either. I mean,
Uh,
I would read a Flash Gordon book before I would read a Buck Rogers book.
I also agree, but I still wouldn't read one.
All right. You
And
know me. I would buy the first issue just to read it and then
the
go,
the
nah.
closest thing I'm going to come is Duck Dodgers.
Oh yeah, I'd read that
I'd
for
read
sure.
Daffy Duck all day long over that. But yeah.
Have you heard about, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's the 50th anniversary of Stan Lee's The Origin of Marvel Comics. So they're reprinting that, and just in time, an author named Chaz Gower has written a book called Stan Lee Lied.
Of
The
course.
uh it's your basically your handy guide to every lie in the origin of Marvel Comics. And he just put it out. It's coming out this year as well. So um I mean, people pretty much realize, right, that not everything that Stan Lee did was he might have stretched some stuff, you know. Um I wonder how this book will be received, honestly.
As long as he doesn't end up on like Vince McMahon levels, we're good.
Which, by the way, they have a Netflix special coming out
Hmm
on Vince McMahon. I will watch it.
Uh,
So,
there's a podcast which I can't say the name of on this podcast.
gotcha.
Um, be called Behind the Illegitimate Childs. Uh,
Gotcha.
and there is a long episode arc on Vince McMahon, with detailed in conversations and stuff on that. And a friend of mine like was like listening to it and like texting me, "Oh my gosh, did you know this?" Like the whole time. So
So it's definitely going to be a watcher.
it's gonna be a watcher. I mean, it's just like, but it depends on like how much do you actually enjoy uh
The behind the scenes stuff.
or the debauchery of everything.
Yeah, that's true
Um
too.
and
Yeah.
for
Some of it though is sad. I watched this is completely off topic. Sorry, Matt, but I watched the Nature Boy documentary and it's just sad.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was wild and crazy and did stuff that no one should ever do. And all I could think of was his family suffered from it. I mean, his son died, OD'd, I think, or whatever. And so that's just yeah. Anywho,
So, and this is one of these things, and I'm on record on this like a million times, so this won't be the first time he's saying it. But I have two twin cousins that are in their 30s that our family stands firmly behind that they are fathered by air, yeah, by the Woo. And
woo.
because
Okay.
my aunt was a wrestling groupie in the 80s.
All right. Well, listen.
She was one of the ladies that traveled around and went backstage and
WCW. It was it that no, was it in I think it was WC.
it
I
was
can't remember.
yeah, those days.
Yeah.
But it always messed me up because if I went to her house like over
Mhm.
the summer or something like that, she had a framed photo of her making out with Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay, this
Off
pull
the
list
rails.
podcast has
Off
gone
the
off the
rails.
rails completely.
And so like it was just like one of those things. So when she told me the like who my cousin's dad was, I was like, okay, I believe it.
I believe it. All
I
right.
believe it. But that jacked up G.I. Joe for me forever.
Oh yeah,
Um,
because of Sergeant Slaughter.
because Sergeant Slaughter, I'd see him, and then even seeing him at cons, I'm just
Yep.
like, yeah, I've
And
seen you my whole life, Chief.
yeah, yeah. And knowing is half the battle.
And
So
that's the battle. The other half is going on with this podcast. So
yeah.
Todd,
Well, here, let me bring you back. One more piece of news.
okay,
So um the hubbub is that DC is getting rid of their multiverse again. That we
surprise.
are going to be multiverseless after the end of this absolute power. DC's doing all in, and they're going to have 3 or 4 titles in the absolute universe, but all of the other stuff will be either Elseworlds or Black Label, and not be for a while anyway. No in and out of the multiverse.
Well, dude, outside of that one Superman book, nothing's really been in the multiverse for a while.
Isn't that crazy? Because like we had this whole entire thing with what was it? Some type of crisis we had back in Dark Crisis, Infinite, whatever. And it was like, oh, we now have the multiverse. Multiverse can do anything and everything. And then they had a book called Multiversity.
Yeah.
And they had a little run in um, Young Justice where they hop back and forth through different multiverses. But other than that, like you said, well, Batman, Zur-En-Arr, losing a hand.
Fair, but ew. Um, I
Speaking
get
of,
it.
did you see the absolute Batman cutting a dude's hand off?
Well, it's not out yet, but
No, but issue 1, there are pictures. Apparently, his bat symbol, his chest armor, comes off and becomes an axe.
as it should.
And he may not kill anyone, but they may bleed to death after he cuts their hand, like he chops a dude's hand off in one of the
Okay.
scenes.
Most of the people that Batman injures could bleed to death anyway,
Yeah, you're true.
on a
Internal-
logistical scale.
You're right.
But did you see the thing about I want to say it was Scott Snyder. Is Scott Snyder writing this one?
Yes, Scott Snyder's writing it.
Did you see what he said about the symbol?
No, it's terrible. First of all, did he
Okay.
say that? I know this is terrible.
No, here's what he said. He said for every complaint online about this logo, it's going to grow 1% larger.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah. And so he said, he's like, keep complaining. I'm just gonna make it bigger.
That's great. And make the wing arms longer. He'll be walking on stilts before it's all done.
Well, dude, I really do love the functionality idea of the bat logo being
Oh, yeah.
something.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
Kevin Smith
Oh,
storyline.
the gun.
Yes.
That
The
was
Kevin
cool.
Smith storyline in Detective 1000, where he took the gun that shot his parents and turned it into the bat logo.
Yeah,
Come
that
on,
was
bro.
cool.
And
That was awesome.
and the fact that in the Batman, it comes out and you can use it as a weapon. Which by the way, did you see that at the end of August, uh the Batman re-released in theaters for a day?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, so
I was in Italy.
you're in Italy. So to uh generate buzz for the Penguin, they re-released the Batman in theaters for one day for one show in full Dolby.
Okay.
Which meant that literally the car chase scene literally felt like the building was falling apart.
Oh man, I bet you it was so loud in the adjoining theaters.
It's
like,
but I'm talking every impact was like monstrous.
oh
Every
wow.
sound like was like literally shaking. But the craziest thing out of all the explosions, out of all the gunfire, out of all the stuff, the thing that made the most noise was when he was beating on the glass to get to the Riddler.
Oh yeah.
It literally sounded like the speakers were going to blow up.
Oh wow.
So that was Chris, but because it was a one-time showing, you could get a cup that had every Batman movie on it with every version of the Batmobile in that movie.
All right then.
So that was fantastic. But then
Back off, George Clooney.
here's the pièce de résistance.
Oh, did you go?
I did. This is the
And
popcorn bucket.
It's the bat symbol. What the? And it lights up.
And dude, and I hold on, I don't know if I can actually do this. No.
Okay, I know this is probably some of you are listening to this on the podcast. Hector has a freaking bat symbol that he put popcorn in.
But
with
it
extra
literally
butter, and
makes a perfect
Mhm.
bat signal
Val Kilmer
on the ceiling.
and George Clooney are right now, and Michael Keaton are headed to his house at this very moment
Fantastic.
because of the symbol.
But I mean, and it works great, but look like you literally just
He just pulled the top off of the sucker. Oh
but
my gosh.
I love it, dude. It's fantastic. And so like I low-key went just for that.
Heck yeah, I would have. I can't
but-
believe you have a daggone bat symbol.
It's so dope.
The bat. Oh my gosh.
So
All
yeah,
right.
it's great. Let's talk
Well,
some
that's-
comics.
That's all the news I had, folks. So there you go. Yeah. All right. We'll talk comics.
We'll talk. All right, so Todd, what are your favorite or your top five or top four books since our last show?
Um, Absolute Power. I am enjoying the summer. Now we're almost into fall, but the I enjoyed Blood Hunt. It had a very cool ending. We're getting ready for a One World Under Doom, and I'm enjoying Absolute Power. Um, the issue 3 has come out. I think we have one more left. This is like the turning point, and at this point, Amanda Waller has turned John Kent into a almost like a cyborg, half Amazo, half Superman, and she's been using him to uh, chase down all the supers that have gotten away, that have lost all their powers. And in this issue, it comes down to all the good guys and bad guys that are still out there running around are on Themyscira, and John Kent finds them, and thanks to Dick Grayson and Superman, John Kent gets fights the basically fights the techno virus or whatever the heck that's in him, and breaks free from her control. But in doing so, he makes the Brainiac Queen, because he's still hooked into the. It's very much like Kate Mulgrew did on the last episode of Star Trek Voyager, which is my favorite Star Trek, by the way. And when she was hooked with the hive mind of the Borg and sends back her thoughts back into the Borg, well, John does that to the Brainiac Queen, and she gets to see the love and the character of all the superheroes and how it goes against what Amanda Waller has told her to believe. And this is going to have a big, huge turning point, and we'll have to see what happens. The cool thing is Superman hugging John, and he's like, "Dad," and he's like, "It's okay, son." It was really sweet. So yeah, the Absolute Power. I've enjoyed the tie-ins.
That's the thing. I've read tie-ins because they wrote through the main books.
Yeah,
But
and I here's the deal. If you're not reading the main book, I would imagine the tie-ins would be really annoying. Um,
not so much at this point.
I do like the fact that it's funny that Dick Grayson, Nightwing, is like the one of the main characters in this. None of his books are Absolute Power
And
tie-ins.
I am so freaking grateful for that because the last time
Yeah,
we
this
did
is
this
it.
with like
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
this,
Fear State or something.
yeah, man, that was so bad.
I
And
know.
just to add to that, like one of the books I did read was Superman number whatever that took place right after the one you just talked about.
Is that the one with Zatanna and they have to? I don't remember.
One of them has Zatanna. There's
Hmm.
one that Zatanna's on the cover, but it's
Hmm.
less. They're going through the I don't know. They're looking for something, but
They're
it's
looking for something. Yeah, I got you.
but
That's the that's the
they
bad part about these, is they all start to go, oh, what are we doing?
yeah, but it talks about him having to fight his son and all that stuff that came after it. So I didn't mind it being the tie-in that it was, but it was still like, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, let's alternate just because
Okay,
I
sure.
like that flow a little bit better. Um, for me, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men number 2. Again, I'm here for Gail Simone. Um,
Yes.
all day,
Lay it
every
on
day.
me.
Um, you get a backstory of pre-wheelchair Charles at university, um,
Really?
flirting with a girl who is I mean, there's like maybe 5, 6 pages of just this flirtatious interaction between them, and it's really smooth and sweet. And then you go back to the fact that where it left off from Uncanny X-Men number 1, and they end up in conflict with those kids, but a lot of it's dealing with the fact that Gambit's not himself since he got the Eye of Agamotto. Do you remember that that's a thing?
No, no clue.
In some story recently, and somebody above my nerd pay grade can tell us where this was, because I do remember Chris mentioning this at some point.
I don't even
Um,
remember this at all,
Gambit has the Eye of Agamotto.
which is wild because now Doctor Doom is Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
Why do we even have a Doctor Strange?
Wait, I don't think we do. Um,
Well, we do, but
like somewhere, I think it was in Blood Hunt, maybe, or something. I don't know.
okay.
But either way, he's got one of them because there's two of them,
Okay.
like a left and right or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
He's got one
Which
of
is
them.
funny.
Um, and but you just get a lot of the fact that the remaining X-Men have PTSD from all of Krakoa falling apart, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
world thinks Professor X is dead, which is this is very X-Men 97. The world thinks Professor X is dead, but he's really in a special prison, and he did something really bad on Krakoa by their standards, and it's a thing of where you just really get a good idea of this new group of mutants that are left, and they're just looking for leaders. And um but Wolverine saying I can't be a mentor, etc. It's just a really good um
It is by far the best new X book out. That's the X from the Ashes or whatever the heck it is.
yeah.
The
And
the X-Men book with Cyclops the leader of it just feels like a funny book. But it's Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman. So I'm like, I don't know. I literally just had it taken off my pull list today.
you made it 2 issues deep and dropped it.
I made it 2 issues deep and dropped it. Yeah.
Okay. This one still stands, and here's the deal for me. If Gail's on it, I'm gonna read it. And you told me something recently that Gail was writing in.
Superman. Oh, Action Comics.
Yep.
And she's also going to be doing James Bond,
Yeah. Was she doing the backstory in Action or the main story?
the main story. Rainbow Royale's doing the backstory.
Okay, yeah.
But she's only got one more issue left, and I think they switch to somebody else.
Okay.
Because they're doing this like Action Comics All Stars, I think is what they're calling it, where they have like somebody come and do a 3-story arc, and then it'll be a new story.
Okay.
So, but it's great.
I'm gonna check this out. All right,
All
but
right.
Uncanny X-Men, this one really turned out to be just a good read for me. Really enjoyed the whole vibes.
I
That's
love
one
the
for me.
cover. It looks like a classic X-Men cover.
It does. It's got a lot of the vibes of that. What you got?
All right. Well, my next one is Amazing Spider-Man 56, which is Legacy 950. So it's a big boy. It's a $7.99 book. This is literally tying up loose ends. And it's done very well. It starts out with Tombstone at it like a long time ago being a lackey for Kingpin, and they have this discussion about um a lion was or a tiger, a lion was killing it was very Mufasa. He was killing a cub from another lion, and they're like, oh, he's killing his kid, and he goes, well, I would kill my own if I had to, and which is coming back down to round because if you've been following Spider-Man, there's this big huge thing going on with one of Spider-Man's friends who is it Robin, the guy who now runs the Daily Bugle or whatever. His son is dating or is engaged to be married to Tombstone's daughter.
Right.
And Spider-Man has been doing this thing. He got suckered into helping Tombstone defeat all of his competition in the gang war that came out, the miniseries.
Right.
And so what Spider-Man has now been doing is he's been trying to make everyone think that he's working for Tombstone, and he just shows up and ruins everything for Tombstone. And all these people are like, Spider-Man's working for you, and this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. So it comes down to getting Tombstone arrested and finding someone who will turn state's evidence against him. And they get his daughter to turn state evidence. The cool thing is that he brings in his lawyer to help, which is She-Hulk. So She-Hulk shows up in it, and it's really well done. It's a good story. We get a lot of the backstory about how Mary Jane got the jackpot where she became the character Jackpot, and how the fella she's with, because how they got hooked up and everything. And it's really good. I feel like they're tying this all up because I think we're getting a new creative team eventually. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It I feel like we're done with the Norman Osborn stuff now, and we're moving forward onto something else.
You're good, man. Good.
All right. That was it. That's all I got.
Sweet.
Amazing Spider-Man Legacy 950.
So I think my next one is what I believe is the end of the Penguin story.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me have it. I have it in my stack and I haven't read it. Should I read it?
well, you should read it just because
Uh,
if you've spent like $70
a year.
to read this
Yeah.
story so far, this last
Finish it, man.
$5, you better bring it home. Um, and it's just the play out of um the first issue started with Batman and Penguin both bleeding to death
Right.
in
In like a car in the Gotham Bay or something. Is that right?
yep,
Were they in
yeah,
water?
yep. They were in water and they were going through that stuff and it looked like their car was sinking, and so we get brought back here to that point.
All right. Good deal.
We get brought back to that. You get the culmination of Penguin and his daughter, of all the gang stuff, and um, this just makes a good final lap for the whole storyline
Yeah, just in time for the
for
the
the
show
miniseries.
to come out.
And Colin Farrell, after the Batman, was so excited to get to do this again. Once they finished filming this, he said, "I never want to put that on again."
Oh, really? He's done.
Yeah. Now he says, "Ask me in a year, and we'll talk about it."
I mean, it
Uh,
doesn't even look like Colin Farrell. If you didn't know it was Colin Farrell, you wouldn't know it was Colin Farrell.
No, by voice, by body action, everything. I mean, the dude literally is unrecognizable. And he because he has to put on a head prosthetic, he has to put on a bodysuit, and it's just like a lot. But
Yeah.
this does make a good setup, and especially with what I'm seeing them tying in with some of the things, this would like if you enjoyed this, you'll enjoy the series from everything I'm seeing. And that was the other
Awesome.
thing. If you went to the Batman re-release uh after the movie was over, you got a preview of the Penguin, like a long one.
Nice. That's a very cool little bonus.
Yeah, and you got to see behind the scenes stuff. You got to hear the vision for everything, um and Colin Farrell introduced the re-release. So
Oh, well, there you go. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
they're promoting it pretty well.
Awesome.
But overall, to say that I'm standing on the other side of a 12 issue Tom King Penguin story, and it was good.
Yeah.
Um, and the stuff with his kids was new and original. Um, you know, I just thought they did some good stuff with it. So, I'm glad this is over.
Yeah,
That's
because I'm always happy when one drops off naturally,
organically. Like
organically.
you live your good life, be free.
All right. Well, my next book is the Ultimates issue 4, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite books. It's one of my first reads. There was a lot of hype for this book, especially after Robert Downey Jr. came out and said he was going to be Doctor Doom. Um, this is, of course, set in the Ultimates universe, and the way this book reads is it is 4 stories at the same time. So there are 4 panels on each page, and the top panel goes to the next page as the top panel is the continuation of the story. So there are 4 different stories. This follows the Doctor Doom of the Ultimate Universe, who is Reed Richards. And you find out how he became Doctor Doom and why he is obsessed with recreating the Fantastic Four. He believes that they can't beat the Maker, who now is like 15 months out. There's actually a time he's going to be in this jail for so many months, and now we're at the 15-month period. And he has a whole conversation with Tony Stark about why he needs to use the Immortus time machine, and they're like, no, you can't do that. And while all this is going on, you see how in this universe the Fantastic Four failed being created, and how they, and one thing it shows like they all died because of the cosmic rays. And then the next one, it's the Maker torturing this Reed Richards into basically making him into Doctor Doom. And the bottom one is him trying to come to terms with that and try to recreate the Fantastic Four because he feels like it has to happen in order to defeat the Maker when he's released from his prison. It's really good.
That sounds
Uh,
better than the Fantastic Four books lately.
yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. This is, um, and if anybody gets a chance, go back and reread the Secret Wars, the Battle World, um, with Doctor Doom, because I believe that's what's going to, the whole entire movie stuff's going to be anyway. So, but anyway, yeah, good book. Ultimates. It's a first read every time I get it.
So, oops, sorry. I am pulling off of something you started. Gotham City Sirens #3.
All
And
right.
I know that #4 is out.
Yes, I have 3 and 4 both. I haven't read them yet.
So, and that's the thing, like I picked up 1 through 3 2 weeks ago, but haven't had time to read them. And so then I was at my comic book shop yesterday and I was like, did I buy these? I think I should just buy the whole run.
There
And
you go. So do you have extra books now?
so no, I picked them up and I got to the register and I'm like, and I also picked up both of the all winter
Yes, issues 1 and 2 I think are out.
one and
Yeah.
two of the, but I had already had those as well. And
Listen,
I
this
was
is
like,
why I hate variant covers.
but I literally put, 5 books back because I'm like, I feel it in my soul that I have this. So I'll come back because
There you
like
go.
I think I can find issue 4 if I missed it.
Yeah,
But
dude.
I'll say this is a fun book.
Absolutely.
Like out of the stuff I read collectively, this was the most just fun entertainment. Um,
Yes.
you've got stuff uh hitting on the whole streamer Twitch, TikTok streamer vibe. You've got jabs at things like Logan Paul and energy drinks.
The
Um
energy, the Cowboys drinking the energy
the
drinks.
Cowboys drinking the energy drinks with the I'm just Ken vibes. Um
Yes,
and here's the deal, to be a Gotham City Sirens book, like they aren't even like the main focus of this book. They're just kind of in it. Um And while they are the main protagonists, it's not like I remember when these stories first started launching, it was like, let's show how sexy and rare these women can be. This is just like this is comedy gold.
it is. It's
Um,
fun. I'm
it's
glad you
fun.
like it.
And then this is probably the best character development I've seen for Punchline
Yeah,
since Inception.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I agree because I couldn't stand her. Like I thought she was just an Aubrey Plaza knockoff.
She is Aubrey Plaza. There's
Yeah,
That's who this Punchline is.
but she's much better in this.
So if you were to start off your understanding of Punchline, who this is, by reading these 4 issues, I think you'd enjoy her more as a character. And realistically, she's a better Joker than we've seen the Joker in a minute.
Hmm. Yeah, the Joker's just too unhinged right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this. It's fun. You get a Rabbit Girl in this. Kind
Yeah.
of gets a little
How
bit.
does Marvel and DC both have a Rabbit Girl?
They'll call her something different. Um,
I know. I mean, Rabbit Girl was in, or the White Rabbit, I think is what she's called in Marvel. She was in the Spider-Man book I read
yeah.
because she works for Tombstone. So that's funny. Yeah.
So if this was just fun, and like I don't know. I just enjoyed the whole vibe of this. So this was a
Good
delight to
deal.
read. I'm gonna
Awesome.
definitely pick up book 4 the next go round.
Awesome.
What you got?
This is a book by Massive Comics. I don't know that I've ever picked up a book by Massive. It is called I, like an eyeball, lie, like don't tell the truth. I lie Popeye. So Massive Comics got the rights to King Syndicate's Popeye, and they're putting out a new book. It's like a 5 issue run, and it's about the story of how Popeye lost one of his eyes because he squints all the time. So this basically Popeye has near God level power when he eats his spinach. I mean, we all know that. We watched all the cartoons. And this is set up very much almost, it has a huge manga feel in it. So like when he eats the spinach, it's like, you know, All Might or Yugi Dragon Ball Z. It's like that happens. And it's fun. Um it has all the characters. It has um you know, Eugene the Jeep, Wimpy, Brutus, Sea Hag ends up being the villainess. Olive Oil, they're all in this. Um, like a reporter wants to know the truth behind what why Popeye only has one eye, and each one of his surrounding characters, supporting characters, have a different story of why that's true. And of course, there's a battle at the end, and then it sets up for the next issue. I loved it. My only beef with it is that some of the lettering is so small for an old fogey like me that it's hard to read. I mean, they need to do better with the lettering, but the book is gorgeous. The story is fun. Um, and it's definitely a book for all ages. Anyone could pick that up and read it. And it's got a huge manga feel to it. Uh, and usually that turns me off with some of the stuff. But I mean, I'm just going to show you this picture. Does this not look like something like right out of a? I'm showing Hector a picture of Popeye, where he's been, and it literally is like, yeah, yeah. So anyway, good book, fun book. And it's an issue one. So I think they're going to do 4 or 5 issues. You could pick it up, I'm sure, uh, from your local comic book shop and maybe get it for the kids.
Okay.
What else you got, Hector?
So, and also taking a lead off of you, Ninja Turtles #2.
Yes.
Did you read this one?
I have not. Which turtle is this one about?
This is Michelangelo.
Oh, Michael. I did try while I was in Italy to get pictures of stuff that they all did.
Yeah.
Those turtles were busy.
So this one picks up, and we saw in the first issue, Raphael is in jail.
Correct.
And at the end of issue 1, you find out that someone is basically coming for the turtles, and so
Mhm.
Raphael makes his exit for that purpose. Now, if you're a fan of Teen Titans or specifically Young Justice,
Which I am. I love
uh,
both of those.
this and the fact that you've got Greg Cripes as Beast Boy and Michelangelo as the voice actor,
Really?
the guy who does Beast Boy in Teen Titans
So you're
Go.
talking animated, not the comic.
Yeah, animated, yeah.
Okay.
But the same guy as both Michelangelo and Beast Boy.
Okay, coolio.
And one of the iterations. So I'm gonna tell you this story, and this is gonna sound real familiar. The charming green guy, left alone and separated from his family, ends up becoming a Hollywood success story by making movies that basically imitate what his life was like.
Okay, so that's what this is.
So Michelangelo is now the mutant ninja turtle with his own movie franchise, fighting like kaiju and all sorts of things. And he spends his day making movies about being a ninja turtle, then goes home and falls asleep on the couch, sad and alone.
Oh.
And, and I've
Oh my
seen
gosh.
at least 2 different versions of Titans
And
where
they've done that.
to Beast Boy.
Nice.
You see it in Young
You
Justice.
think he did it on? Do you think Jason Aaron did that on purpose?
It's very possible. But Michael, so like just like Raphael got jumped by ninjas in prison, they poison Mikey and
Oh.
attack Mikey to think that it's his brothers attacking him.
Well, there you go, like Mysterio.
Yeah. And then someone shows up at the end to help Mike. And then it goes really badly.
Oh,
So
someone shows up to help him.
So- and then because it goes badly. So honestly, the character development, the pacing is kind of crisp on this. If this lasts no more than 8 issues, I think this could stick a landing and be a perfect Turtles book.
I imagine that they'll do the four alone and then they'll end up together, right? That's what we're thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. But I think you'll get one per book and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe tie it up at 6 or 8.
Gotcha.
If this goes on for 12, it might go too long, but I think you could nail the landing
Yeah.
in 6 to 8. But
All
this
right.
was fun. I read the first one today as well
Mm-hmm.
as this one. And I really enjoyed the Raphael one. That was really good.
Yeah.
I feel like the Raphael one might
I'm
have been,
gristle and blood and
yeah, that's
wrapped in a
great.
shell.
Um, this I feel like Raphael might have been better than this, but
Okay.
this was still good.
All right.
So that's my last major one. What else you got?
All right. Well, I guess my last one is a new number one. We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. When Marvel got the rights to Aliens, it had to happen. We have Aliens versus Avengers issue 1, written by Jonathan Hickman.
Nice.
So very nice. And drawn by, I think, Assad Ribic. This is a gorgeous book. This book is so well done. It's definitely my my favorite of all of them. This takes place in the future. So we're like 20 years, 30 years in the future. So Hickman's in a sandbox where he can do basically whatever he wants. And what has happened is um, uh, there are like a group of aliens who are basically seeding planets with alien eggs. So, and they explain how that happens. They like drop a queen egg into like New York or a huge city. And then it's like in, in 1 week, there is this many. In 1 month, there is this many. And then, it's so, and they do 4 queens in one planet. So we are now basically down to the last vestiges of humanity. And the Hulk, Captain Marvel, Professor X are the big ones that are in this book right now. And Valeria Richards is the only remaining Fantastic Four, and she's found a way to create a virus to kill the alien. But of course, things go wrong, and a mistake was made. And when someone tells you, don't open the door, no matter what, you don't open the door. But the Hulk can't help it. The Hulk in this book is, of course, he's old. He's like 70, but when he turns into the Hulk, he's so awesome looking. The art in this, and what happens is the face hugger escapes. It pounces on Miles Morales, so Miles is still around. And
Oh,
at this
that's where
point,
that suit came from. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so apparently Miles is venomized. And what happens is the xenomorph goes to get Miles, and apparently symbiote trumps xenomorph. And so then this thing is talking, and then it goes back onto Miles with a wicked looking suit, by the way.
It does look
And
dope.
that's the end of the first issue. And I don't know how many issues it's going to be, but the cover is a little misleading. It's got Captain America and Iron Man on the cover. They're not even in this book. But you get some backup story about how who is seeding the planets with this, and then it's basically we're trying to save humanity, and these are the only people we have left to do it. And Professor Xavier is real old and in a wheelchair, and um, yeah, this is a definite read. Pick it up. It's great. The art, the aliens are awesome, creepy. Um, when Philip Kennedy Johnson took over the Aliens book, when Marvel first got the rights to the aliens, that first run series was so good, and then they sort of fell back. This feels like We've taken that Philip Kennedy Johnson and just gone way ahead of what it should have been. So, I mean, it's fun because he's got a sandbox to play in of all these characters. He can do with whatever he wants. He can kill them all off. It doesn't matter, and just have fun. So, yeah, I'm sorry there are no more Fantastic Four characters alive, but you know, I'll get over it. Like in every universe, the Fantastic Four, they're not in the Ultimate Universe, they're not in this Aliens universe, but Johnny Storm's got a new girlfriend. Anyway, what do you got, Hector?
That I think that needs to be a whole discussion. We need to break that down at some point. So
He's the
my la
Captain Kirk of he's the Captain Kirk of Marvel Comics. Anyway,
he is. Um, so Wolverine number one.
all right.
Um,
Hey, is Nightcrawler on the cover?
Nightcrawler is on the cover.
Awesome.
And realistically, Nightcrawler is in this book more than Wolverine. Um, which is why I have it in my hand.
Awesome.
Uh,
Which, by the way, I'm going to be making a Nightcrawler mini for somebody. Somebody's commissioned me to make a Nightcrawler mini.
dude, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be
I
great.
know it's going to be awesome. But anyway,
Uh,
tell me about this bad boy.
so this takes place before the current X-Men books. But I think also in canon with
Okay.
them.
I hope
Um,
so.
I hope so too. Well, it definitely feels like it. Um, the basic gist is after all the crap happens with Krakoa and the From the Ashes and all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff before we get these books, um Wolverine, to just be cathartic, goes out and lives in the wilderness with some wolves.
Okay.
And he's running around in his skivvies, just running with a wolf pack.
All right.
And Nightcrawler is going out and searching for Wolverine, trying to bring him back into society and make sure that his heart's healed. Um and someone slaughters Wolverine's pack,
Oh, that's bad.
and then the same person is trying to slaughter a group of people.
Oh, that's even better.
And it's an old Wolverine villain. And but then at the end of the story,
Wendigo?
no,
Okay, okay. Because that was really a Hulk villain.
yeah. But
Yeah,
he does transcribe over to Wolverine pretty well, is pretty good as well.
all right.
But it's an old Wolverine villain, and it basically just comes down to as they're rounding up how the story's playing out, something scarier than the villain is coming to life.
Oh, okay.
And we don't actually know what it is.
Gotcha. But we're gonna
It
get a
it
new baddie.
it, mm, it might be an old baddie.
Oh, all right. Bring in the old baddies.
Um I can't tell you like for sure because I don't know what it was. But just in reading it, whatever comes out, um you know what? I don't know what I'm talking about. Um
I
uh
don't know what I'm talking about. I
I
love
don't know what I'm
that.
talking about because I'm confused by what happened. Either way,
It's a good book.
the bad guy of this issue is terrified of the thing that's coming.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then when it shows up, the bad guy's changed.
Okay.
Um
Do
and
we get spiritual Nightcrawler?
not as biblical as I would like, but yeah,
Gotcha.
he's still in
Okay.
there. But since you asked, let me show you who shows up in issue number 2.
That is Wendigo, isn't
That
it?
is Wendigo.
Yeah, nice.
But that's not what we're afraid of in
I
this
can't
issue.
believe got rid of that book. I had Hulk 181 at one time.
Yeah. So that's about it. So
All right.
I would like to, for the tally, state that I think the majority of mine were Marvel or not DC.
I know. I hated that I didn't get Minor Arcana from Jeff Lemire because I know Chris would have loved to have that one in the pools. Oh, I'm gonna have to get it, read it, and we'll have to talk about it later. Because Jeff Lemire it's his first new ongoing continuing book since Sweet Tooth, and he's got it at Boom Studios. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll have to get it just for Chris.
I'm gonna have to get like Absolute Power. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention this because I I bought it thinking it was going to end up in my pulls, and I don't know that it necessarily did. Did you see Plastic Man No More?
I did, and I didn't get it just because I had so many books I had to get. I wanted to. Um, I heard it was really good.
It was really good. Um, I'll see how it
Like
goes.
everyone thinks he's a joke, and actually he didn't even have many jokes in this. So
It was the just like, oh, they're like, oh, you're so funny, but basically he takes a bullet to try and or takes a shot from a weapon to try and protect the
and
team.
he's now disintegrating.
Yeah, he's dissolving.
Yeah,
And he's
that's not
trying to
cool.
pick and apparently creating a nuclear bomb is the only way to and
There you go.
yeah, do that.
All
So we'll
right.
see. I actually bought that one digitally because I couldn't find it in my store.
Mm.
Um, and I might have to end up doing that with Absolute Power. We'll see if I can't just get a trade, but yeah, same deal. Well, that's about it, man. And I will say that you had mentioned that when we were talking about books that were kind of falling off and picking back up, I do think Poison Ivy is taking a good turn. Um, I thought that Batman and Robin took a good turn too, heading into Bane and Vengeance and Dinosaur Island.
I dropped it.
Yeah. Um, but like it was good for a second and then it got wonky.
Mhm.
But the book does end, or at one point, Bane apologizes for all of his evil and wants to go to jail to pay for his sins.
Cool.
And Damien gets venomized for a second.
I did see that. Yes.
Yeah, it's just like but but there's a whole new creative team coming to Batman and
Okay.
Robin. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Good deal.
All right. So this has been our episode 105 of the Pull List podcast. Todd, thank you for taking time out of your super busy schedule to join us. And thank you
Oh,
for
thank
taking
you.
time to listen and to watch. We couldn't do this journey alone. We do it with a lot of the other great folks from Love Thy Nerd, along with an amazing production team who makes us all look shiny and sparkly and cuts out all the parts where I go on about inappropriate professional wrestling stories. And so we want to say thank you to them. Thank y'all for listening, be a part of this. And remember, you can check this out on the Love Thy Nerd Podcast Network at or you can also check it out on YouTube at youtube.com/at the Pull List LTN. You can also find us on the Glue Network, GLU, over on Roku. And we just want to say thanks for being a part of this. And remember, kids,
Read more comics.
Bye.
Woohoo.
I'm gonna take all 7 continents as a game of risk. I'm the master of epic duel.